Hey everybody, welcome to Studio Coffee. Today is Wednesday, February 26th. I've got my coffee here in an experimental mug that I made last year, which is pretty close to being something pretty cool. I really kind of like some of the things that are going on in the texture. Not 100% sure on the handle, but there's a little hint of orange on the inside, which I can't show you, but without spilling coffee. But yeah, just an experiment that's here around the studio, so I'm trying it out. Uh, I thought today you can kind of, as you're sort of looking around the studio, it looks probably about the same to you, but just off camera is a giant mess. All of the things that I brought back from Baltimore ACC show and need to be gone through, all the boxes need to be gone through and reorganized and put away and all that sort of fun stuff. So when I get back from a show, I usually kind of go through a mass cleaning, and so I'm kind of getting ready to start that, which I really actually, I'm not, I'm not a big cleaner, but when I do clean, I like to do like a big thorough clean, and then I always feel like I've kind of hit the reset button and I'm ready to make new work. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, even though it's a lot of work. Um, so yeah, anyway, I wanted to share with you some thoughts about my experience at the show. A couple of people had asked me to share some of that before I even left, and so and of course, you know, when you get back from a big show like that, everybody asks, "How's the show? How did the show go?" And it's always interesting to me to try to answer that question because there's so much I'm still processing. Um, One of the things that I would encourage you to do, particularly if you are starting an art business or you're sort of new to this or younger at this, um, I did shows for a while when I was younger in my 20s, and I found it a very frustrating experience on many levels. I have a little bit better sense of what I'm doing now, and what makes for a successful show. So I guess in some ways the question becomes, what makes a successful show? Um, I used to always sort of just look at the bottom line number. What did it cost me to do the show, including uh, mileage and hotels and all that food that you eat out, all that compared to what did you spend on materials, booth, um, credit card processing, which you don't have to, which is a little bit easier to do these days. All that sort of thing, and just sort of like, how much money did I make at the show was determining whether or not it's a success. I now recognize that that was a very myopic way of looking at things. So while I was very tempting to only look at things in sort of the immediate bottom line dollar. Actually, I don't think it's the best thing to do. What you really want to be thinking about is a couple of things. One is um, the art business, just like any other business, is mostly about people. It's not about money. So if you can start to think about your ability to connect with people, find people that are relate to your work and love your work, and you're sort of in a way growing. You're growing a business by growing a number of people who don't just necessarily like you on Instagram, although likes on Instagram are great, followers or whatever, but are people who are really connecting and investing in your work. And that's the people that you're really trying to cultivate. And that's really what the show is about. It's an opportunity to meet those people, find those people, have this sort of one-on-one connection. So in terms of that, I would say my Baltimore show was a really big success, even though from a bottom line number standpoint, I'll be honest with you, I just barely missed breaking even. So I didn't make any money. In fact, I lost a tiny bit of money um, over the course of the show. Now, this was a very expensive show. Couple caveats. This was a very expensive show for me to do, and it's the first time that I've done it. Um, so I don't want to. I'm going to come back to the money, but before I do that, I want to go back to talking about people first. So yeah, there were some amazing people that I met there. There were some old friends who came by who I was able to reconnect with, and some of those people bought work, which was fantastic, and I love that connection. There was brand new people who saw my work for the first time and fell in love with some pieces and bought some pieces, and that always feels really, really good. And in fact, I've already started to get some comments from some of those people who have sent me direct messages afterwards saying, I bought this piece, I brought it home, it's so perfect, it's just what I was looking for. And those are just like invaluable. So whenever I sort of I take a kind of an idea of, like, in a way, I'm running something sort of like an adoption agency for artwork. Like, I'm looking to try to find the right homes for the work that I'm making. And so when that happens, that's a total celebration. That's a total success. I had a number of those. I know that if I go back and do the show again, I'll have even more. When you do a show, you can't really judge whether or not it's just a show is going to be a success on one try. I think it takes at least 3 tries of anything before you really know that it's going to work. But already I can tell from the reactions I got from being there once that the next time I go, they'll be, I think it'll be more financially successful as well. So it's kind of an investment. And again, it's an investment of money into people and finding the people that are the right people and making those connections. And when you make those really big connections, you want to honor that and really make those connections into longer lasting friendships. So some of you may be people who are seeing this for the first time because you followed me after coming to see me in Baltimore. You should be looking for an email in the next week or two. I'm going to try to get to as many people who I have emails for, thank them for coming to the show, and also, kind of show a little bit more about the types of things that I do and can do. I also took some wholesale orders, which is part of this particular show. So I made some connections with some galleries. And again, they made an order, which I now am going to be, after I get the place cleaned up, I'll start working on fulfilling those orders. And that also may lead to future orders as well. Again, it's a business, but it's also people. So if I can connect with those people, those may be ongoing orders. And that also is partially where you sort of start to really see what you're doing become fiscally successful and sustainable. So yeah, so people first, really, that would be my number one encouragement to you, is to really think about, when you're doing shows, you want to think about the people and connecting with the people. And that's a skill, and it takes a lot of time to learn. So again, if you're new at this, it's okay. Take some time, do it well. I actually learned how to do this not by doing like big super shows, which I was doing and getting a little bit frustrated about, but doing smaller shows. So back when I was in the Carolinas, I would do the farmers market, and the farmers market was a very low investment. I think it cost this was a long time ago, but it cost like $20 to go for a Saturday and do the farmers market. And that's a great way to sort of learn some things, because particularly if you have a farmer's market in your community, you're right there in your community, you're establishing connections with people in your space. So it's much easier to keep connections with them. And if you make mistakes trying to talk to people and you scare them off, or not talking to people when you should be talking to people, that sort of connection thing, you can learn the connection, but it's not costing you a ton of money, and it's a lot easier. It's only for half a day. So you don't want to sit in a booth and be mopey, right? So if you are doing a show and your energy is negative at all, like if you're sort of sitting there stewing because somebody across the way or that you're watching is selling all of their stuff, and you think their work isn't as good as your work, and believe me, I've been there. That negative energy, no matter how much you try to sort of put the fake smile on, it's never going to work. So you have to sort of flip the way that you're thinking about things. So yeah, I did that. I made that mistake in my 20s. So I've learned how to really celebrate when people around me are doing well and to also learn from them. So that's another thing about doing the show was, again, it's still, as long as I've been doing this, it's still a learning process. And I also not only connected with people who are potential buyers, but other craft people too, and that is also super invaluable. And when you connect with those people, they also can tell you about their experience, and you learn from them, and you can kind of watch how they do what they do, and particularly when they're really successful, and that can also really help you out. So anyway, yeah. So doing shows, doing these festivals, doing things where like you sit in the tent, you know, if you're an artist, you might be sort of like, you know, kind of, oh, I don't really want to do that. I want to do galleries. That's also great, but I think there's something really positive about being in front of the public and really getting that kind of feedback. So it's the same thing that you would do if you had a show in a gallery and you have the opening reception. Again, opening reception is not about selling your work. The opening reception is just about meeting people and really connecting with people and listening. It's a lot more about listening than anything else. So, okay. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about money, but now I forgot what it was. So yes, the only other thing I would kind of want to say, I know I'm about to run out of time anyway, is from a money standpoint, I think artists in particular have this sort of romantic notion of going out and doing a show and being like crazy successful money-wise right off the bat. But anybody who's in any business will tell you that no business makes money the first year. So you have to kind of be okay with that. Think about the first year, the second year even, as really investment years, that you are learning how to do things. I know it's really painful if you're looking to find a way to make a living for you. Some people get that right off the bat, but it's very, very, very few. For most of us, you need something that gives you a sustainable income that you supplement with art, and your first goal is to make the art pay for itself. Once it starts to pay for itself, if your artwork starts to pay for itself, if you can go a year and actually not have spent any money on your artwork, you know, rental space if you have that, materials, all that sort of stuff. So really think about all those parts. And once you can start to break even, that is a sign that you're about to turn the corner and you can start to make money. So don't get too anxious too soon. Definitely be aware of what your money is, where you're spending your money, what you're making. I'm not saying, by saying people first, I don't mean ignore the money, but I'm saying don't make the money the driver. I think that's really like my analogy I use a lot. There's several things in the car with you. Money needs to be one of them. Money cannot drive the car. Don't let money drive the car. It's a people first business. All right, I should go before Instagram kicks me out of my time slot. So until next time, enjoy some coffee. I'll see you later. Bye.